Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Walter Herman. I am a Principal Solution Architect here at JourneyTEAM with the Dynamics 365 platform. And I'm joined today by Josh Bohin. Say hello everybody to Josh.
Hello, Joshua Blahin, Solutions Architect with JourneyTEAM. Glad to be here with you today.
Wonderful. Thanks, Josh. So for our time today, I'd actually like to step us through a little bit about what the agenda entails, and then we'll dive into that here shortly. So let me go ahead and actually share my screen so you can see a little bit about the things that we're talking about. First off, the session that, for those of you who are tracking with us, a session that we're diving into right now is that resolve field service issues the first time, every time, with the new mobile app from Dynamics 365. It's Josh and myself, like I mentioned, stepping us through our time. The topics that we'll be covering is just kind of quickly identifying the business value that are driving the features available to us. We'll do a high-level demo of the field service mobile app. I'll do a little bit of a step through. Josh will identify how you can actually process a work order on the field service app experience. And then we'll deep dive into some of the features available to you, some of the ones that we've actually highlighted. Of course, there's a plethora of features available. Can't really cover in our entire time. And then lastly, we want to do kind of a comparison between this new experience versus the legacy app. And for those of you who are have been part of the field service platform for a while, I understand that as the Resco app or maybe the Xamarin app, or of course, Microsoft is now calling it the legacy app. So just a real quick introduction, like I mentioned, around some of the business value. It's good to understand where the market is and why we're seeing what we're seeing with some of the new experience. So, as always, there are actual market forces that are driving change in the service industry where the field service lives the most. The customer service workload is really being transitioned into remote work. We're seeing 35% of that projected by 2023. And just another item that I'm pointing out here, 85% of customer service interactions are really going to start with the self-service capabilities. So, that's a 50% increase since 2019. What that does is that's challenging service leaders of today to think differently and to actually problem solve around some different problems that they're experiencing, managing customer interactions across multiple support channels, right? And then, of course, responding to increasing customer expectations while managing your resources, i.e. your technicians. So just part of that list there. Of course, what that means is that's actually shifting the way that people are doing business today. And so for those of us who are thinking about how typically field service or customer service centers are a cost center, and identifying how we can turn that into a profit and really provide servitization, i.e. engaging with customers on a timely, frequently basis to actually provide better service for them and servitizing our products. Of course, there are some challenges that come along with that. The inability to scale and poor technician enablement is probably one of the biggest ones, which is why field service provides a mobile experience for technicians out in the field. Dynamics 365 for field service is that solution from Microsoft that allows you to deliver proactive service, intelligent schedule resources, and really ensuring that technician success through mobile experience enablement. Some of the problems and the examples of those problems that we're seeing today around ensuring technician success are listed here. And I'll just point out a couple of them. The emphasis on really growing service revenues, on market products, customers, and economies, and really that inexperienced technician performing the difficult repair, that third from the top there. It's really where the technician needs to call in for more experienced technician and rescheduling appointments because we've just not identified and put the right information in the technician's hand. The way that we enable technicians, of course, is providing them with the digital tool they need to do their job. Of course, making it a mobile experience for them so they could be untethered from their desk or from their clipboard. Leveraging powerful tools like Dynamics 365 Remote Assist and Dynamics 365 Guides, which we won't talk too much into our time today, but just know about those. Enabling augmented reality to actually, with Dynamics 365 Guides, to help technicians do their tasks step by step. And Dynamics 365 Remote Assist and a senior resource through a remote experience to help assist with more complex jobs. So the next generation Dynamics 365 Field Service mobile app that we'll be stepping through today comes with a plethora of features that help talk to some of these challenges that are being surfaced to the service leaders of today. Push notifications to alert technicians of updates, customized reporting, offline capabilities, leveraging the telemetry of the phone to do things like recording photos, videos, and attaching files to work orders. Technician locators, leveraging the GPS and the other telemetry aspects of the phone to understand where the technician is and using geofencing capabilities to automate some of the business processes, leveraging field service inspections and creating step-by-step dynamic approach to creating inspections on site. So those are some of the features that really speak to the market changes that we're seeing out today. And for our next session, for the remaining time, I really want to dive into what the app looks like and some of these features that we've highlighted. So first, what I'm going to do is do a real quick overview of the Field Service mobile app, and then we'll turn it over to Josh here momentarily to actually do a process a work order through the mobile experience. So with that being said, we're actually going to go to my phone, and I'll show you what the experience looks like from a phone experience. The Dynamics 365 mobile app renders on various form factors, especially mobile devices such as your phone, your tablet, of course, in a browser, as well as embedded in other applications as well. It runs on both iOS and Android, as well as Windows mobile phones, for those of you who still have those. What you're seeing here is that mobile app rendering on my Android phone. What you're seeing here is a list of bookings, which is kind of like the dashboard where you would start for a technician. You're seeing the list of bookings for today. You have, of course, here at the bottom, I could look at a month, a week, or a day view. And right now I'm looking at my day, and I can see the list of work orders scheduled for myself. I can go into one of these bookings, and I can actually process these, an actual booking for a particular work order where I am when I go actually on site. Additionally, some of the things that you're able to process and manage with the application is from the site navigation here on the left, we can see the list of work orders that actually exist out there, as well as we have a full product catalog from Dynamics 365 that can be leveraged to the mobile experience. The accounts, which let us see the billing accounts and the service sites out there, individuals, are the contacts at those. Of course, we can see the IoT information that's coming through if we are leveraging connected field service with the field service platform, as well as the time off requests and time entries processes, or so entering time, and we can do all of that through the mobile app as well. So this is kind of the look and feel of the mobile app. Notice that, of course, this is a lot more in line. The experience is a lot more in line with what you've seen around the Dynamics 365 mobile app for things such as the Sales Hub and Customer Service Hub, for those of you who have worked with those different experiences before. So I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to actually switch over and let Josh kind of take us through what processing a work order on the Field Service mobile app looks like. Josh?
Thank you, Walter, for doing that. I will go ahead and share my phone as well. Okay. So, like Walter said, when the technician or resource signs in for the first time, they are navigated to the booking. The assumption here is that the dispatcher has already looked for an available slot on the resources calendar and has booked a work order for the resource to execute. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to complete the 10241 booking. I'll open the booking. The first thing that I would want to do is, after reviewing all my activities for the day, if this is the next activity that I have to complete, I want to travel to that location. And so I'll go ahead and change the booking status on this booking to traveling. I will save that. I will go to the customer tab, and then in the map control, within the app, on the top right-hand side of that map control, there is a get directions. Once you click that get directions, what happens is the native map control gets opened, and then from there you can hit directions to that location. Okay. Once you get to that location and go back into the booking status, change it to arrived, or you can change the status to in progress. Save. Okay. Now, once the booking is saved and we are about to begin the activity, there are a couple of things that you could do after that. We could update customer information, add different products and services, select the products that we are going to use, complete any inspections or things of that nature. Okay, so I'll start with the customer tab where I will navigate to a specific customer. Let's say once I am on the customer, I'm supposed to update the customer address or email or any kind of personal information of the customer. We can go into the account record and update it. Give this a minute here. Okay, so from here, let's say the customer's name has changed. Maybe they need it was Alpine Sky and House, but now it's uh, um, Alpine Sky Limited Company. That can be changed, and any additional information of the account can be updated, phone number, email, so on and so forth. That is natural is the trainer, the resource continues to update any service tasks that they are supposed to follow, and this is basically a templatized activity plan that has been given to the resource to follow. So they can hit the 3 ellipses and mark complete if they have completed the task, or just go into the activity itself and use the percentage complete control to complete this activity. Okay, so they can use this to specify what percentage of completion has taken place. Okay. The next section is the products. So if there's a specific product that needs to be installed or set up in the customer's location, can be added as a work order product to the customer. So a product can be selected and set to used. A quantity will be specified. So let's pick a different product that has some quantity. And then we will go back if there is a specific service that we can sell to the customer to generate additional revenue for the company. We can upsell the customer on a specific service that we have. And we can pick any service that we have. Go to the information. We can review all our information here. Specify the time we want to bill for that service, and then save our service. Okay, so all of these will potentially go onto the invoice when the work order is close posted automatically, and that invoice can then be sent to the customer. Okay, and from a high level, that's a quick overview of the booking. Once the booking is ready, the resource can change the booking status to completed, which will complete the booking. And to go into the deep dive of all some of these features, I'll turn the time back over to Walter.
Great, Josh. So for some of the deep dive that we want to do next, here's just the features that we want to cover. Barcode scanning, the ability to tap to call directly from the application, the ability to process inspections directly from the mobile experience, geolocation, geofencing, and voice dictation, all powerful ways that you can leverage some of the telemetry, some of the devices on the phone itself to actually process your work orders and your bookings. So for some of that, let's go ahead and step through what that might look like on the mobile phone itself. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen from my phone. So for barcode scanning, for example, we're leveraging, of course, the categorized search and the relevant search. The categorized search inside of Dynamics 365. Of course, this is the same categorized search that you configure for the entire Dynamics application, Dynamics 365 for field service. And so you would want to, of course, make sure that you've enabled the customer asset entity, which we would scan if we would place, like, for example, we would create QR barcodes and 2D barcodes that we can actually place as we can actually stick on a customer asset at a particular site or location. Right next to the search bar, there's the barcode icon, which I'm actually going to click. And the first thing it does is it'll bring up the actual barcode scanner on my phone. I have a QR barcode that I generated with this compressor title, and it searched my customer assets and immediately brought back this customer asset as a result. This is a great way to enable a quick process whereby maybe your technicians need to come on site, and the first thing that they do is they actually scan the asset that they need to work for. Because of course, for customer assets, like you're seeing here, we're able to capture, of course, the asset. Like here, this is a compressor, the functional location, the device ID, the latitude and longitude of this asset. Of course, we could also see all open work orders against this compressor. And we can actually filter that to open work orders for today for this particular technician. And of course, now once I dive into the work order, we could look at the booking, i.e. the actual scheduling of this work order for myself by going to the booking itself. Right, so this is a different way to actually approach the beginning of the intake process of, the beginning process of a work order on a particular customer site. The other one, of course, some of the other another deep dive feature that I wanted to show is the ability for you to maybe call for the technician to actually call somebody at the site when they're on site. As opposed to actually noting the phone number down somewhere and having to actually type the number in, we can of course go to the actual account on that particular work order. For example, I'll go into Alpine Ski Limited, and I could call directly from here, leveraging the phone feature in the field service application. The powerful thing about this, of course, is any kind of contact at this site or any kind of phone number we can enable with this feature. What that'll do is that'll allow us to make a direct phone call right from here. I put my phone number in, so it went straight to voicemail. And I think with that, what it does is it has me lose my screen. So let me go just back and make sure that I'm resuming my screen here. Okay. And what I'd like to point out is as soon as I came back from that phone, it opened up a new form for me to create a phone call record. And so this allows me to quickly capture notes about this phone call record, right? So I could just say call manager, for example. This might be something that I had to call the manager on the spot, or maybe it was just a follow-up phone call afterwards. And I can type in, of course, I can do in my description. I can use the microphone icon on here and actually dictate right into the phone itself and dictate some notes and save this. Quick way to actually for us to capture that phone communication as opposed to actually having to type outside the line. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the ability to manage, to create and perform inspections. Inspections are a new feature that I actually released only with the Dynamics 365 new mobile experience as opposed to the RESCO experience. On a work order, when you go to a bookable resource booking, on a work order, when you go to the booking itself, and you go into the service tasks, and you click on a particular service task that is of the type inspection, it'll actually render the inspection for you. The inspection screen is a little bit different than most of the model-driven app mobile experience forms that you've seen. It, of course, allows you to create multiple types of questions and responses without having to create those that metadata, those additional fields on the particular entity. As you can see here, this is an internal inspection, maybe for something like a suppression fire system at an organization. And you can pick the date, or of course, it could be auto-filled in for you. And we can see the number of branches. Maybe I examined 4 branch lines, and I examined 5 mains, number of risers, the location. I could type that in. As you can see, all of these are different types of fields. We can have, of course, drop-down fields, option set fields. Additionally, if we can have conditional hide and show various fields depending on some of the fields that we picked. So, for example, if we did replace some gauges at this time, we have to specify how many gauges we actually processed. And then, of course, so inspections have pages. Pages have sections. So you're seeing here, we're going to go to a second page. This inspection has been mostly filled out previously just for demo purposes. I'm going to scroll down here to where we see create follow-up work order, just highlighting the fact that we can actually create automation around inspections and actually demonstrate how, or we can create business processes that fire off right off of the inspection themselves. And of course, additional comments, which once again, if we press the microphone button, we can do voice dictation right onto the inspection itself. And then we can save the inspection, and this will actually save all that information to the work order itself. I did want to just highlight quickly what and how inspections themselves are actually captured in the field service application and what that means for just reporting purposes. So with that, I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to show the fact real quickly kind of the creation process for inspections. So inspections, of course, have a draft and a published type state as well. So here's the internal inspection that we were just looking at earlier. Notice that, of course, I have a toolbox where I can add all of my different questions onto the WYSIWYG editor. There's canvas here that shows me like the date that we were looking at, the number of branch lines, the location of risers. So each one of these you can drag and drop onto the canvas. Additionally, this is where you can create some of that business logic to hide and show and require various fields depending on the different answers that we can make real time on the inspection itself. Once an inspection is created, it is, like I've mentioned, it is actually attached to an inspection is actually attached to a service task type. A service task type is actually brought onto an incident type, and then we know, for those of you who've been working with work orders for a while, that incident types are attached to work orders, and that's where they actually will surface. Inspections will ultimately surface. For reporting purposes, inspections you do want to turn on in the field service settings configuration record. You do want to turn on analytics. And what that will do is that will actually take all of your answers and will serialize those, the records required for processing the answers to your surveys. So for example, if I type in Forms Pro, just real quick for those of you who do work with this, for reporting capability, there's no out-of-the-box report available. That information, inspections are captured though in the Forms Pro survey question. The response are those response record, and the question response are the actual instantiated responses to a particular survey that is actually instantiated out in the field. So you would take this, you would take the combination of these three record sets and combine them into maybe like a Power BI report, an SSRS report, or a report of your choosing, or maybe something like in an Excel template. Okay. So those are some deep dive features. I'm going to turn it over to Josh to step us through a few additional features.
Thank you, Walter. So what I will be covering is geolocation, geofencing, and voice recording within the field service mobile app. Okay. Now to kind of start with geolocation, the first thing that we need to do is some preliminary configurations need to first happen for geolocation to take effect. The first one is in resource scheduling, in the settings location, settings area, and in administration. You can look for scheduling parameters, and within the scheduling parameters, you connect to maps needs to be set to yes. This enables the Bing integration with Dynamics 365, and it allows addresses to be geolocated. The next setting that you want to enable is auto geocode addresses, and this can be located in the field service app in the settings area and field service settings. And then in the other tab, you can enable auto geocode addresses. Set that to yes. Okay. Once that's done, you can do multiple validation in the instance of an account based on the postal code, territories associated, and auto generation of geolocation takes place when new addresses are added to the account automatically. In certain situations, you would have to manually geocode. In instances where the address is already there and you want to force geocode, you could use the geocode button on most of the ribbons within most of the entities within the system. Okay, so in this example, I am on a work order address here, and I would like to geocode it. Okay, as you can see, the latitude and longitude are empty. If I geocode this address, hit OK again, now the geolocation has been generated for that work order. I can go ahead and save this work order. This geolocation will be used for mostly for the schedule board to determine the location of the resource at any point in time. It also helps when you are using the quick scheduling feature or quick booking feature of Dynamics 365 to find customers that are in a specific geographic, to find trainers for a customer within a specific geographical area. And that's mostly around the radius of the booking, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so the geolocation is used for that. It's also used for geofencing to identify the location of a specific resource in a fencing area within the application. So geolocations on accounts, users, work orders go a long way when you have to locate and identify locations for customers and for resources. Okay, with that, I would like to transition to geofencing next. Okay, so with geofencing, just like geolocation, you have a number of settings that you will need to take place. This is basically putting a geographical fence on a geographical location for a resource. Okay, so for geofencing configurations, the first thing you want to do is go to the field service app. In the settings area, you want to go to geofencing settings. And for those settings, you need to specify the unit of measure that you want to use for the measurement and the minimum radius that you want to use to track the fencing area. Okay, once that's done, you need to go into the entity configurations within the same settings area and create new configurations for the account and for the bookable resource. You do it for the account because work order inherits the geolocation from the account. You can pick the fields that you want to use for the geolocation, enable as geofence, and then specify the radius that you would like to use. Okay, you do the same for the bookable resource. Same, you pick the latitude, longitude, and obviously specify the timestamp you want to use to track the time for when the geofence record was created for that bookable resource. Once you have that, this is what you traditionally see as active geofence records for the resource within the timeframes you've specified. And so you can see geofence around Starbucks by the resource Sadie. You have other ones that are in here. It will show whether they are inside the geofence area or they are outside the geofence area. And depending on either of those dispositions, there will be a specific display UI on the schedule board to let the dispatcher know if someone is within or outside a specific area. There are other things that can be built on top of this, like push notifications to remind the trainer that when they are leaving an area, they should remember to say, change the status on a bookable resource booking. It can also remind the trainer to change the status upon arrival for that bookable resource booking. So really powerful and amazing tools here. The last thing that I wanted to show is the voice recording within the field service mobile app. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and transition to the field service mobile app. So within the app, I'm going to open the existing booking. And in the notes section, I'm going to go ahead and create a new note and give it a name and a description. And then from here, I'm going to hit the mic button, which opens the recorder. Looks to be recording right now. I'm going to stop the recording, hit done. And as you can see, a WAV file, audio file has been attached to the note. I will add the note, and that saves the recorder on the bookable resource booking. And that's mostly it. Traditionally, you would do all of this before you close the booking, but just wanted to focus in here and show an example of how you would record an audio file and attach it to a booking. The last thing that I wanted to cover is a high-level overview that goes over the features within the legacy app and the Dynamics 365 app. So I'll transition back to the web and we will jump in there. Now that we have this amazing tool built on with a unified user interface, we have the ability to basically build customizations both for the web and for the mobile very easily. there are a lot of features that are now available with the field service mobile that existed in the legacy, not so legacy, because a lot of people are using it now, but the old RESCO version of the field service app. This document developed by Microsoft goes over the feature comparisons and a little bit of details surrounding those features, documentation on how to execute them, and whether or not they are available in a specific release. Okay, so it goes over features like the camera, photo, video, geofencing, which we just talked about. As you can see, it's available in both. We talked about remote assistance, inspections, push notifications. All these features are now available within the field service mobile Dynamics 365. Some have just been released in the 2020 release. I would encourage you to go in there and spend some time reviewing some of these capabilities and executing them. It was really nice visiting with you for a few minutes today. And with that, I'll turn the time back over to Walter.
Great. So that was a great deep dive of various features available to you in the Dynamics 365 for mobile apps for field service. So we've stepped high level through the mobile app as well, and we kind of compared it to Dynamics 365, the original versus the new experience. We've done a deep dive into various features of the mobile experience. For those organizations really looking to bring technician enablement to the next level, look to this updated mobile experience. This is where Microsoft will continue to invest and promote this experience above the legacy experience, as Josh called it, i.e. the RESCO or the Xamarin experience. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the BTS and have a great day.